Cool.
How you doing?
How you doing, man?
Doing alright. I just like the VOD I wanted to go over isn't there.
Oh,
But I
that's
found a different one.
all right. Hopefully, it's just as like good for looking at.
Yeah, I think so. It's like I played like the same dude like back to back in weeks and like
Mm-hmm.
the first one was like kind of shit and I kind of got smacked around and then I was like, wow, that was kind of shit. And then I played him the next week after like looking at it and then I did a little bit better, but I still kind of got fucked, but it was like I feel like the problems were like less obvious, where this one's a little bit more like, oh yeah, I drop a lot of punishes, but that's also like something I wanted to go over as well. So,
Okay. Yeah.
um,
Can you link me to that?
hmm but this is the first one instead of the second. I think it starts at 1 minute 14, or sorry, 1 hour 14 minutes. Should be.
Okay. Yeah. In the future, it's probably the best if you can like maybe upload stuff to YouTube or like have a
Yeah, I can do
slippy.
that.
Twitch just has that like 10-second jump, when you use
Yeah,
the
yeah,
arrow keys, and it makes it like a little bit difficult to like go over stuff.
yeah. I'll do it next time. I got you.
Okay, let's see.
Mm,
Starting the stream. Okay. You can
Yes,
see
sir.
it?
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
you said it's at what?
1 hour 14 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah, it's Marth Fox.
Okay. Alright, and what's been going on, do you feel like? Outside of like the drop punishes, obviously? Or like.
Um, so it's partial drop punishes, which is always just gonna be how that is. But it's like funny matchup should be able to zero to death him, but it's fucking hard. Um, Outside of that, I kind of just get like run over a lot. Like I have a hard time keeping like stopping him from like keeping tether off of me. I feel like a lot of time like he's a lot better at using CC than like the other foxes that I play.
Okay.
And also, I kind of just get gimped a fuck ton in this matchup, and it like stresses me the hell out. Like, I don't
Mm-hmm.
know how else to explain it, but it makes
Okay.
like, cause like I feel mad comfy against Falco, but I do not feel comfortable against Fox at all. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I don't think my edge guards are great. I think that needs a lot of work. I just also I had a question. Um, do Mars like not really go for gimps on Foxes anymore? Cause I was I was watching like Zane and Kodo play at Shine. Like I didn't even see them try. Like it wasn't even like, oh, they like didn't really get any. It was like, yeah, they didn't even throw them off stage. They just fucking up threw them and try to kill them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't really know why. Why they stopped doing that. I'll be honest. Like,
Yeah, that
like in
makes
my
sense.
opinion, like it's still pretty good. I think maybe like um, they feel like it's more consistent or something like that. I don't really know. Uh,
Yeah.
I feel like Gimp and Fox is definitely really good. Like,
Yeah, I mean, I agree.
so it might be more of like a meta thing or something like that. Like, I feel like in general watching Zayn play the matchup right now, it feels like it's kind of in like a little bit of like a lull where like I feel like the Marths were kind of like used not used to getting away with like the free stuff or whatever, but like I feel like just like Cody is pushing the matchup a lot, and then like
Yeah.
they're like the top Marths are kind of thinking about the way Cody plays it, and they're playing against that, and then like maybe they just don't have like good solutions to all his different recoveries and stuff like that yet.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Like I don't actually know for sure. I haven't talked to them about it.
I think my game plan in this matchup has changed like slightly since this VOD, but not a lot. I kind of
Mm-hmm.
just noticed that if I F smash a fuck ton, like they start respecting my space a little bit more, but also I kind of don't know if it's actually good because then they start spamming shield and it's kind of cringe.
Okay. I'm just gonna start watching, and I'll just watch it for a bit and see what I see. Hmm. Okay. Let's think about it more. Okay, I like that dash dance. Okay, dead. There should be. Okay. Okay, so there's some stuff in the first stock. I'm gonna see if it comes up again in the next stock before we talk too much about it. I think that like this dash dance grab was really good. Like the main thing is that like you didn't have like a plan in which to like win the stock when you started. It definitely feels like you're just like, well, I'll do dash dance and like Nair's like a pretty decent move into like center or whatever. And I feel like that's sort of like not downplaying, but like not thinking about like your win condition from like the very beginning of the match, you know?
Yeah, that makes sense. And one thing about Fox that I'm kind of generally struggling with overall is like, so I play Marth, so at first it's just like my best matchup for free, right? And it's like I kind of had to catch up the other matchups to it. And then now I'm like at this point where I'm like, well, now it's kind of behind, and I've never really had to like game plan it before because I always just got better at it through like absurd amounts of grinding. So I don't feel like I'm very conscious of like how to play it, if that makes sense.
Okay. Just gonna watch for a second. I'm like you could definitely hit this, right? Like this edge guard.
What do you think I should have done?
Let's see. I think there's like a bunch of things. So, I think, so it's tricky because based on what the Fox did do here, immediately after you hit them, you could have just, like, run off stage and then, like, drifted back. I think if the Fox had correctly drifted back here, it might be a little bit more ambiguous. But I think, like, in general, like, I think you can, like, you're not, like, if you, okay, like, if right here, you know that Fox can't side beat a ledge, right? Like, if you run off right here, there's not, like, you're not losing anything, you know? Like, you're not losing your on-stage edge guard by running off, because you can always just double jump back if you really wanted to. So I think it's usually worth it to, like, go off stage, just because all he can do is drift, shine, and up B. So as long as you don't get hit by the shine, and you're just waiting for the up B, and you go below the stage, like, you can definitely just, like, if you had run off here, you probably could have, like, neutral B'd this or something.
Yeah.
Or, like, drop side B.
Drop side B sus. I started drop side being for a while, and I just started getting fucking shine reversal like every time.
It really like depends on the exact positioning of it. I also think like running off and just fairing is not that bad, even though a lot of times you'll get the tipper. Like out of a position like this, I really don't think it's that bad. And then like after you like right here you do have plenty of time to like go to ledge here, and you would be in like a position where like once you're at ledge you can either react to this low angle or react, like you can react to the low angle and just roll off the edge, or react to the high angle and then hit him again.
Okay.
So like just I think getting comfortable just like grabbing ledge really quickly after actions like that is pretty important.
I didn't even know that was like a reactable situation. I figured if he went high, I just kind of can't. But I guess if I'm invincible when he goes
like as long as you're grabbing the edge right here, like right before the up B triggers, you definitely have time to react to it.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Like I think that's in general like the advice that I would. It's funny. I've talked with like Salt about this a little bit. She has this big thing where like Marths don't grab the edge, like they just sit on stage, and it's kind of like if like Falco or something just sits there and down airs and forward smashes the edge, and those are like the only edge guards Falco was using. It would feel kind of off.
Yeah, that
And
makes
I
sense.
think that like because Marth has like a strong on-stage edge guard, people like they use it a lot, but there's just so many positions where you can like by where grabbing edge is actually really useful. So I think like sorry, one sec. I think like being a bit more proactive with the edge and stuff like that, just as, like as you're practicing, could probably help you in that area a little bit.
Yeah, that makes sense. Oh, also the stream quality from your end's like really low. Like not your quality, but the quality of the stream, and I know it can go higher than that. I'm like almost certain.
Like, um,
Like it's like very pixelated.
you mean the quality of like the Discord stream,
Um,
or
n-
like,
it's happening in your stream too. It's like the quality of the game and everything.
huh?
Because when I was
Okay.
watching the VOD, it definitely was like much higher. I think you might be able to turn it up.
Okay. Well, the good news is I'm getting new internet soon, which should be like way faster.
Oh,
So I should be able to like output a lot higher bit rate of everything without having weird issues.
that makes sense.
But yeah, sorry if it's not perfect. If it gets too
No,
bad,
yeah.
just let me know and we can
No,
work
I
something
can like
out for
see
later.
everything.
But
I can see everything. It's fine.
okay. Yeah, okay. This is like another big one is the late forward air. I haven't seen you use any of those yet. And that's actually like probably the biggest piece of this matchup to know as a Marth player.
Yeah.
Like the biggest like the biggest thing in neutral I would say is that like outside of like the super basic solid position where you're both kind of under your own side plat is you want Fox in the corner and then you want to set up these fair pressures. Like that's the strongest position you can get on Fox pretty much.
That makes sense.
So like if you're in a spot like let's see. Somebody in chat was saying that maybe like I just had the Twitch
Yeah,
quality
that's what I was
VOD
getting
or
at.
Twitch VOD quality low. Okay. Okay, thanks, Crush Point. Yeah, but let's say like a position like this. Either Fox is just gonna rush into you immediately, and you can like maybe read him with like a grab or like a walled nair or something like that, or he's gonna stay in the corner for a second, and then you can get like that short hop. Like the short hop setup is just really strong there. So I would say like as a general rule, if you can get Fox in the corner, like rather than setting up like you were setting up like the nairs, like the
Yeah.
nair wave dash down tilt, like there's nothing necessarily wrong with those, and like they're definitely still good options. But I think like getting ready to set up the fair pressure and being and just making that like a big part of the plan a lot of times will help you feel more in control of the corner, just like the empty hop in general. It doesn't need to be like a
Yeah.
full approaching empty hop either.
You mean like just like a one in place, kind of like set it up?
Yeah, like any sort, like like rather than naring right here, just like short hop and then like fair, kind of like in that zone, or like you
Yeah,
can
that
mix
makes
it up
sense.
with an approaching one versus like more of like a walling one and stuff like that. And then like a lot of times out of the short hop, maybe Fox full hops out of the corner, and then instead of the fair, you do like an up air here, like a late up air or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think like the directionality of everything is definitely like a big one. Like so far, like I haven't really seen any moves used with the intention of like setting up something good or like
Yeah, that
setting
makes
up
sense.
some sort of like a kill. It's been kind of like the moves are primarily used just for like their spacing purposes. And which is
Yeah.
why I think you end up in a situation where like you've hit him a ton of times and nothing has really happened.
That's my alarm to wake up for a lesson.
Nice. I like the with Brinstar, right? Or something like that.
No, it's just some fucking thing from iPhone.
Oh, it's just
It
because
definitely
like
sounds like the Brinstar one,
yeah,
yeah.
like it sounds like the escape like from like adventure mode or whatever.
That's true.
Okay.
So, what do you suggest that I do instead of what I'm doing? Because, like, I feel like my comfort matchups are definitely like the floaties right now for sure
Mm-hmm.
because I can kind of just like play like this and like you don't really
Yeah,
expect to get
you
that
are
punishes
playing
on
this
them.
much closer to like how you would play a floaty.
Yeah.
Um, okay, so the general idea for how to play against Fox, and this is true for pretty much every character, is you create little like tricks. So if Fox is basically super fast, but like fairly vulnerable, especially if like they play too slow or they don't really do a lot of things. Like the Fox is going to be making very like snappy decisions. That's
Yeah.
just like how Fox is played. And so what you can do is you want to create situations that appear appear vulnerable to like a snap judgment, but actually have a trap in them, which will get you whatever punish you really want on Fox at that moment.
Yeah.
And that is like the general format. So like if like a Peach is playing Fox, they like to stand that like they'll move into the exact range where like Fox can just barely get like a good cross up aerial on Peach, and then they do wave dash back down smash, like wave dash back hold down, you know?
Yeah.
And it's like the idea is that like they're creating a situation where like a snap judgment from Fox would cause them to likely go for X thing, and then they are doing like, and this is my planned punish to defeat X thing.
No, you just like trap card them over and over again, basically.
What's up?
You just like trap card them over and over again,
Yeah.
basically.
No, literally, this matchup is 100% trap card, and I think that like, I think Kadoran is a good player for like, he like he has like a fairly low number of traps. Like he doesn't play super dynamically,
Yeah.
uh, which I think is like pretty obvious from watching him, and I think that makes it like it makes it easier to sort of see what he's doing, because like I think Zane is like he's really fast and like he's doing like a lot of little things, and I think that it make like his playstyle is just a little bit more fluid, and it makes it
Yeah.
harder to like see the exact traps that he's using. But I think like if you watch Kadoran, it's very clearly like okay, like he's trying to play kind of like a safe neutral where he's like moving in a way that Fox doesn't feel safe just immediately like spamming something. Like
Yeah.
it's basically like step 1 in neutral is like Fox, you better not do something dumb because I've got tricks. And that's like what
Yeah.
you want to project in neutral, that like like your dash dance is not just moving in and out of the range, that the point of your dash dance is to trick them into like firing off something when it's not their time to do that, or like when you're too ready for it. So you start off and you're like, all right, Fox, I've got tricks, so you better do something smart. And then you're like, oh no, I'm in this spot, and then Fox does the thing, and you like catch him off guard and trick him. That's
Yeah, that
kind of
makes
like the
sense.
idea, and it's literally like a repetition of that. It's the exact same way you play against Fox every character. With Falco against Fox, it's exactly the same way. You're shooting the lasers. You're like, hey Fox, you better not just randomly throw nairs because like, what if I was ready? And then that like reduces the chaos like a little bit, and then you're like, then you kind of give them like an opportunity to maybe make a snap judgment, and then you try to you trick them into doing an early nair, and then you shine out a shield or something like that. That'd be
Yeah.
like a
Yeah.
Falco trick. And it's like, is shielding like good against Fox? Like no, like they have a lot of ways they can do late nair, like they can do drill. There's all these ways they can beat the shine out of shield. But you're like you want to create a situation where you're like, hey, if you do this really obvious option that has quickly come up, not like just always obvious, but like, oh, in this specific position, this option seems really obvious. A lot of times the Fox will bite, and as long as you have like big strong punishes out of those positions, you'll beat like almost every Fox,
Hmm.
because the Foxes will have to have ideas that go beyond all of your tricks. Like they need to be able to like play Fox at this pace while also like reacting to potential tricks that you have to catch them and not falling for those, which
Yeah.
is a lot to ask.
That makes sense.
And so like when you come back and you're doing this, like you could like this nair is like, I would more classify what you're doing as like very kind of like middle of the road option coverage where you're like, well, I'm like pretty safe against a bunch of options, and like if he does these couple options, then my option will kind of hit. Like these nairs, they're very like, I don't know, maybe you'll drop into me, you know? And like you don't really seem focused on like which direction the nair will hit Fox, or like what move is probably going to set up next. They're just kind of like out there, and you want to like avoid those as much as possible. Like maybe something like you do the short hop and you do like a super late up air and then you dash dance to be like, hey Fox, are you gonna try to like come in after that, or even after this nair, like just being really ready for like rather than, okay, like let's say you shielded this after the nair or something, rather than, and like let's say you didn't have time to dash out of the way and all you had time to do was like shield. It's like you would want some form of like a read here. So either you're gonna nair and then you shield and you are like reading that they're gonna like do a bad shield pressure and give you like a shield grab, let's say. Or maybe you're doing a thing where you shield this down air and then like let's say you're not comfortable with which move Fox is going to use here. Like sure they might down air, but they might run off nair and then you don't want to grab and get put into like a bad situation, right? And honestly, as Marth in this spot, you can like kind of spam shield grab here. Not like spam, but like if they get a shine, you'll just go to ledge, like on the smaller stages. One sec, my throat's like mad dry today.
You're good. Mine too. That's really.
But what you could do is like maybe, okay, like assuming you're not in a spot where the shine sends you to ledge, okay?
Yeah.
Maybe you like shield this aerial and then you have noticed that this is the type of Fox who will do a second aerial. So maybe you shield this and you hold shield for the second aerial and then you go for the grab.
Yeah.
And so like every time you interact with Fox, you want there to be like, oh, but if Fox does this like option that I'm reading them doing, then they just die. Okay. I definitely noticed that your recoveries so far, you're like holding in a little bit too much.
I want to be holding out.
You want to reach like a point of like neutral-ish drift where like you're about like here where like you can drift in or out. Like you want it to be ambiguous whether you can barely get to the edge of the stage or like whether you're gonna like fade back or like fast fall.
Right, you're talking about like the spots where you like jump in place off the stage and stuff like that.
Yeah, like you like right here you kind of like jumped like this area and you got hit.
Yeah.
And then like earlier there was a spot where you did like the side B on like the Marth killer and got hit, and like that wouldn't have been that bad of a side B if you had neutral drift, because it would have just hit Fox to ledge and you maybe have one more mix up to either like fast fall up B or air dodge or something like that.
Yeah.
But then because you had the drift in, you were getting hit. So it's just something I wanted to mention, is that like you don't want to be like so like get me in now, you know?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay. This nair wasn't bad because at least it was like directed here. I'm gonna slow it down a little bit just so that I don't have to rewind hopefully as often. So yeah, also I like the up airs here way more than like the nairs.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Just as like a general thing. Okay, you get this and you go for like this forward smash, like thinking that he wouldn't slide off. I think this is like good. Like this is what I want to see more of. Like I want to see more of like you were very ready for this situation to lead into like a kill once you got it.
Yeah.
You know? Let's see. Okay. And like yeah, like what was like you can do, like you can, I don't know, you can react from like a standing position with like a lot of stuff. I just don't really see a reason not to like short hop like a little earlier and like try to cover ledge. Like you just need to like react to something. Like I think that like short hopping a little earlier here. Like obviously you don't have a guaranteed edge guard here, but you want to like up the probability as much as you can. So like if you short hop at this moment, Fox can probably do instant fast fall, perfect side B sweet spot, and probably get there before you get down. Like maybe. But even in that case, I don't think it's that likely. So it's like if you short hop here and then you just kind of hover and you don't fast fall or anything, you could like react to Fox going with the side B and get like even like okay, so there's like a couple options of like you can like sometimes you can barely tap them with like the fair here, or you can get like, you know, short hop and then you do like that late dare that like hits low here. Or you can do short hop and then like reacting like kind of go off stage a little bit. Or in this spot you can honestly just like grab edge and like react to what they're gonna do. Like they're pretty far away. They don't have like a way to air dodge to the stage or anything. So I think just being like a little bit more active, like with the edge guards, would help a lot. Like trying to make something happen. It feels very like you're kind of just waiting for them to recover into your hitbox.
Yeah, that makes sense. That's definitely what I'm doing.
Yeah, no, it's very common for Marth to do that. Yeah, like, dude, you're just waiting, you know? And it's like, no other character is gonna like, wait here. Like, no other, like, top tier is just gonna, like, sit here waiting for this spot. Like, if they have, like, you could have run off fair, you can grab edge, like, you can be a little bit more active in general on, like, this spot. Like, I think the issue is less about, like, the specific edge guard and more about, like, the attitude of the edge guard, where like
yeah, that makes sense.
Where
I don't get the position and then like foam at the mouth to try to kill him. I'm just like
like they should feel this feeling when you get here of you like like the kill, can I get the kill? And they're like, whoa, calm down, buddy, and you're just like sweating and like giggling. Like nah, they need to get this like feeling that like, I mean, that's what you feel when Fox shines you off the stage. You feel like this desperation that like, oh, is it my moment to cheese? You know, and like, you're not giving that. Like, you're hitting him off, and you're like, all right, let's see what you can do. If you can sweet spot, I'll never cover it. And it's like, that just gives them, that not only like makes them recover for free in the game, but it like gives them this mental advantage that like, they were just not in danger.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And then, okay. Doesn't matter. Game was over anyway.
Yeah, no, it's fucked.
Okay. Oh, what's going on here? Let's see. Okay, so here's the thing. I'm not a huge fan of the instant run and down tilt. I think like I'll take this for now over like passively dash dancing.
Yeah.
I think you could basically do the same situation with a little bit more complexity.
See,
like
this is actually like the thing that I've changed. I feel like is that in this spot now I'm just ripping tipper. Like I'm like, okay, give me opening, basically, and like I don't think it's great, but I think it's better than this. You get a knockdown, dude. I don't know.
Yeah, but I mean, yeah.
What do you think? What do you think I should be doing? Like, how do I force like openings on him in this spot? Because I definitely saw this and I'm like, oh, I get a down tilt and I get like 12% and it doesn't do anything. Like, that's terrible.
Yeah, the down tilt is like a spacing move. Like, you can't just start the match by hitting your opponent, right? Like, they can't start the match and just hit you. Like, the match starts and you're like, you know, like if you watch like fighting, you know, like watching like MMA or something, or like boxing, it's like they start out with this kind of like poke type of thing, right? Like they're kind of feeling
Yeah.
each other out, and like, poking and like looking for stuff. They don't just like run across and start throwing their hands all the time.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And so like you have these sort of like poking moves, like spacing moves and stuff like that. And like most of your moves are not big payoff moves at zero. Like you're basically doing the equivalent of like if you do the forward smash of just like starting a match and just running at them and just throwing like a haymaker.
Yeah.
Which is like maybe some people they're like, what is he doing? And you get caught off guard and hit. But like in general, it's not like as solid. So it's like there's nothing wrong with doing a down tilt here. Like when you hit the down tilt, you're gonna be at like a frame advantage. And you can use that to dash in and then dash back and try to bait them and like there's not like game starts, there they are, get my opening. It's like game starts, there they are, threaten some stuff, bait some stuff, threaten more stuff, bait some stuff, move around, and then you get like one down tilt here, bait them a little bit more, and then you get like a fair grab and then you kill them out of it, something like that.
Yeah, makes sense.
So it's like, and the Fox is not doing like run up smash or something. They're trying to catch you with these drills, and they're doing like pretty conservative movement with them and stuff like that. Yeah. So okay. So this is like an example of, and I think this is something that you would probably do, or like it's close to something you do. But like, let's say you're in a spot like this, right? And you do this wave dash. I would say that you want, while you're doing this wave dash, you should obviously be trying to react to what Fox is doing. But you should, like your head shouldn't be empty here. Like when you do this wave dash, it should very clearly be in your head of like, is Fox gonna try to continue pressuring me? Like after this wave dash, if Fox tries to continue pressuring me, you can get like a grab. This is like a really common wave dash out like Sheiks and Marths use. And like you just have to be super ready to like, oh, I'm just gonna grab him if he tries to come at me. Or like, and it feels like you definitely like wave dashed, and then you're like, okay, what's he doing? Like now I'll react.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And it needs to be like a lot more like, this is the situation. I'm gonna do this move. What do I think Fox is gonna do here? And be really ready to like capitalize if the thing happens that you actually want to happen.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Because if you try to play too reactive like that, you're never gonna be in like a position to actually hit him. He's too fast.
So you're saying like be a lot more proactive with how I like reversal him out of his own pressure, basically.
Yeah, like when you're in a neutral position where you're getting pressured, rather than thinking about getting out of the pressure, think of like, what is the most obvious way for Fox to continue this pressure, and like what input could I use to like get a strong opening on that like obvious decision.
Yeah, that makes sense.
You essentially just want to calculate. You essentially want to complicate the calculations that Fox has to do, where you want, because like there's no matchup in this game that's worse than Marth versus Fox who's second guessing himself. Like if the Fox is second guessing themselves, it's just over for Marth. Or sorry, it's over for Fox. Like it's just the easiest gameplay in the world for Marth. And so like how do you get Fox to second guess himself is you start hard countering the obvious choices. Yeah. And then anytime they make an obvious, and this is like, you feel this against Zane so hard when you play him as like a spacey, that like the obvious choice, the most straightforward rational decision, it always means death. Always. Like that is what he's doing, is like if you're in a spot and there's like an option where you're like, oh, I could just do that here, he's ready and he's about to counter it with something that kills you. And so what that does is it makes it so that like you don't want to go for any of your normal good stuff as Fox, because all of your normal good stuff is like the stuff he's secretly planning for, and it kind of like it's literally placing a trap card face down in Yu-Gi-Oh or whatever. Is that like you're like, there is a trap here, you don't know what it is, but there's something here, and so like you don't want to do your move, or you might second guess your move just because there's a face down trap.
Yeah, 100%.
I haven't thought of it in that exact sense before, but it's the most accurate thing ever. Okay.
Another thing I've been told in the matchup is that I'm like really bad at getting out of juggles, and I don't really. I feel like I'm having a hard time like expanding my brain on how to do it because it seems like you either do the falling fair or you don't, and like everything else is just kind of some like scuffed other option that you can do to like attempt to get out
Mm-hmm.
based off
Well,
of exactly what they're doing.
yeah, a lot of times the thing with the fair is you want to maintain, like, how do I describe it? Like, you want to maintain a. No,
You
that
like
only
don't want
applies.
to let
Okay,
it
give me
go.
one sec, because there's something I'm thinking of, but like it doesn't apply to every situation. I'm trying to think if there's like a more general concept for it. Um, okay, essentially, you want to make sure that Fox is in front of you while you're recovering, or like
Yeah,
while you're like anti-sharking, whatever, while you're trying to get down.
yeah,
Um,
that makes sense.
and there's like a set of okay, you know when you're playing against a Sheik on FD, and especially and they do like the Jmook thing where like you hit them and they have their back facing you and they kind of are trying to do like this back air timing drift mix up to maybe like
Yeah.
trade or throw you off to get down, right?
Hmm.
That's what you're gonna do. Like you're using like this whole like if I drift back all the way, you would need to come in to chase me. But then if I don't drift back all the way, then like I can hit you for trying to chase me.
Yeah, that makes sense actually.
And so,
That
what's
the
up?
main thing I've picked up from like watching Kodo and Zane and trying to pick apart how they do these spots is like
Mm-hmm.
they'll also do this thing where they like double jump back air to like flip themselves around. And it seems like it's kind of
Yes.
tricky.
Um, I'm not sure the exact spot, but like they're trying to turn themselves around so that they have like a fair
Yeah, yeah.
position, right? Yeah. And like um, I've said it a lot of times that like basically Marth's strongest recovery type position is like right here, like right over the edge of the ledge. So if Fox is comboing you or whatever, and you can like DI out and then get to a spot where you are facing the ledge and you're dropping like about this like the vertical distance doesn't matter that much. It's more about the horizontal distance,
Yeah.
and it's because of a few factors. So it's like, well, Marth can drift off stage and just do fair and hit you, and then instantly like upbeat a ledge, and maybe that's counterable if you're TAS or something, but not really. Um,
Yeah.
or Marth can barely land on stage with like a late fair slash down air. Um, or he can like wave land on stage or drop and wave land back to ledge. Um, or if he has like a double jump, he can do. One sec, I've got Facebook popping up. I did not realize that I had Facebook open. Okay. Or like Messenger or whatever. Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Let's see.
We also have the
So
pod
yeah,
there.
and you have a fast fall mix up as well as like going slow fall versus the fast fall, and then barely drifting in here versus barely drifting out. Um, and then if you have your double jump, it's like kind of even more where like you can act like you're gonna fall like let's say you get comboed, you still have your double jump, right? And you're in this spot and you can act like you're kind of gonna fall on stage a little bit and then drift back and then double jump to ledge and stuff like that. There's a
Yeah.
lot of ways out from this exact spot, and so I think that like this is the starting point, and then once you kind of understand this position, then maybe once you're falling from like this position, it you can like oh the sorry really quick the other thing was that they also can't like jump at you if you're like in this spot. They can basically only do like walling back airs like here or like aerials like this, they can't like jump out and get you, because then they risk getting like reversaled, and then they're off stage or they're in the
Yeah,
corner.
that
And
makes
so
sense.
what you can do is you kind of like extend this position as you get better, like further and further out, and then pretty much eventually you're like right here, and you're kind of threatening like a slightly worse version of this situation from here, where you're kind of like, oh well, in this spot, like maybe ignore the platform for now, right?
Yeah,
And you're like, oh, maybe at this spot horizontally, like Fox could cross me up, to avoid like the whole fair thing. They could cross me up, but the cross up area is very clearly like in the corner. So
yeah,
maybe like I'm going for the fair and they cross me up, and then you do a dropping back air, or you do a wave land, or you just do like an empty land, and then like now Fox has cornered themselves trying to catch you, trying to prevent you from setting up this kind of like fair wall type thing.
yeah. That makes sense.
And that's like you said, like to fair or not to fair is like there's really not that many options Marth has there. So
Yeah,
it's a lot more about like the subtle drift and fast fall and like timing mix-ups and stuff, with like based on this area, and like it slowly changing as you move towards center. If you are like in center stage and they just up aired you and you're like here, I would say you can do something where like maybe you drift. Like basically at that point you just want to do, it's the same thing as here, but there's no they don't experience like a negative for crossing you up.
yeah,
But you can maybe do something like you back air or you side B the other direction as they're crossing you up. And so now like you side B this way as they ran over here, and now you can set up the fair wall and drift back this way and set up that whole same mix up
that
or
makes
something like
sense.
that. That's honestly about it.
Word.
And it's just getting better and better at like doing that exact little thing. Okay, I like that. The late fair is good. In general, this matchup is like heavily reliant on the late fair.
Yeah, that makes
Even
sense.
when the late fair doesn't become a big part of the gameplay, it's it's like a big threat at all times. Like it just is like a major piece. Okay. Yeah, you just got reversal. Okay, yeah. So look at this part. Um, so some of this is just like, I don't know. I do like a lot of like Fox versus Falco lessons,
Yeah,
and the Fox will be like, well, yeah, like I just lose to every Falco, and you watch, and they like get the Falco gets their opening, and they combo them to death, and then the Fox gets the opening, and Falco combos them to death. And it's like kind of similar here, where
yeah,
like the Fox is hitting all their, like Stiv is hitting all his combos or all their combos, and like you're like you got this big opening, and then you just got drilled into Fox's combo. So like
yeah,
in that type of situation, it's like you didn't really do anything wrong except get reversal,
yeah,
which is like I don't need to tell anybody not to get reversal. Okay, so now when you're in a spot like this, I kind of prefer holding out here. And I don't know what the top Marth would say, but like right here, I would be much more likely to hold out or like up and out,
yeah. That makes sense.
because it leads directly to that fair sort of falling type situation. And so
I
like
think
when you
here
end
I'm
up,
just mashing SDI through him to try to like get out of the up air.
yeah, and I
That's
mean
why I end up winning
that
this
does
fight.
make sense also. Like
But I just like SDI'd the second hit instead of the first one.
mm-hmm. Okay, and
Yeah,
that's fair. And like I said, like if you're trying to like you're gonna end up here sometimes whether you like it or not. You're not always gonna be able to DI perfectly. I was just saying this was like a spot where
yeah,
that could
yeah,
create that. So let's say you are here, and then you get hit, and they're just big juggling you. But now that you end up here, which is the spot I was talking about, I think you're actually in like the perfect spot here. Because Fox is already positioned right here, you don't really want to be like right here where you would normally be. Like normally you'd want to be right here if Fox was like here.
Yeah.
But if Fox is here, you want to be out here, and you're just drifting back so that they can't back air you. I think the side B is okay, it's fine, and then you get ledge. So it's like that. That's just like the position that you're gonna get all of this stuff out of. All of the getting back to stage and stuff. There's something about the way you're using Nair that I'm not super into. Like I feel like I want to see more of the anti-air Nairs. Like the Nair is more of like an anti-air tool. It looks sense. Like you're using it a little bit like late or trying to do like a low Nair to like catch the dash dance.
Yeah.
And I feel like that in like some spots it's fine, but like in general it's not. You're not really gonna get a lot out of it. Whereas, like, if you get, like, a Nair out of the air, you have a lot more options out of that. It's just the way I think of the matchup is I see short hop Nair as Marth as an anti-air tool.
Yeah, that makes sense. No, once you describe it like that, it makes a lot more sense.
Nice.
How do I stop him from, like, running in on me as much, though, then?
How do you stop what?
Like, if I'm using the Nair as, like, an anti-air tool, what do I do to, like, stuff him out if he tries to, like, grounded approach me? Just, like, pivot grab or late fair?
Yeah, a lot of times it's, like, the auto-cancel Nair. The auto-cancel Nair is basically impossible to punish on reaction.
Yeah.
So, as long as the Fox isn't super hard reading your Nair, they will need to set up something afterward. And so, like, from the Fox end... Like, basically, from the Fox end, what I tell people is that you're going to dash in, and then you're like, hey, I'm going to Nair you. The Marth is like, no, you're not. So the Marth does the short hop Nair. And then, like, the Fox, what I tell them to do is to space their dash dance just barely outside the range of the Nair. Yeah. And then do an approach or some sort of, like, threat, like, approach threat, like, right after that Nair happens.
That makes sense.
And so from the Marth end, what you want to do to prevent that is first of all, you want your Nair to be mixed up in terms of drift, where like basically neutral drift Nair versus like slight drift in type of fade back Nair versus more of like neutral jump slight fade back Nair. Like all those little differences, they like subtly change what the Fox is seeing, and then also like the slight mix-ups on the timing between like the instant Nair fast fall and stuff versus like empty hop, and then like instead of the fair, sometimes you can do like a Nair and stuff like that. Just there's like a difference between like, you know, like the frame 1 Nair and like I think frame 3 or 4. Like there's just a couple different Nair variations that Zane uses.
Yeah.
And like it's very difficult for Fox to really determine exactly which one is happening there. And so you can get away with like using the Nair, like the Nair is kind of like when Falco lasers Fox, where it's kind of like you hit them with this laser, and then they're at this range where like they kind of want to press in afterward or maybe threaten something, and so the Marth, you do like this Nair, and then like by mixing up the spacing and the timing a little bit, you're creating a little bit of ambiguity from the Fox's end, and then like maybe they run in to try to pressure after the Nair, and you just grab them, or they run in after the Nair and they get down tilted, and then like you dash back or dash forward out of the down tilt, or you just Nair and then you dash in, grab or something like that, and they're not ready for it, or like Nair, instant short hop fair retreating, or another Nair or something like that.
Yeah.
And so, like, if you do the world's most obvious in-place Nair, Fox's answer will be to get right outside of the Nair and then approach you after with some sort of mix-up. And so you're basically taking that situation and you're trying to add complexity to it, where you're saying, well, first of all, Fox doesn't know I'm going to Nair. So, like, they're not going to be prepared for this exact Nair that I'm doing. They might be Nairing into my Nair. As long as you're mixing up the spacing, they can't space perfectly around the nair every time, and so it becomes like a fairly safe neutral tool where you can also get some tricks out of it. Like, dude, I don't know, the number of times that some Marth is naired and I've run in to try to catch the dash back after the nair and they just grab me is like massive. And a lot of like, there's also some situations where they can do like nair up tilt. I don't really recommend that unless you're in the corner as Marth. Like the nair up tilt's not that bad.
Dude,
in some spots.
I up tilt so much and it's trash. Like that's like one of the things I've been trying to just like cut out of my gameplay. Is just like
yeah, it's definitely like it ends up as a bad habit. Like it has some uses, but like
at scrap level, it's like the best thing in the game. Like
yeah,
but it's like, oh, they try to hit me and now I kill them. Fuck you.
Yeah.
Then you just get killed for it.
Yeah, so I would say like I wouldn't focus too much on the up tilt for now, but I would say like focus on mixing up the drift a little bit and the timing on the auto cancel nair, and then like you want to think of how it looks to the fox.
Yeah.
That's like the most important thing when playing fox is like, how does this thing I just did look to the fox? Does it look vulnerable? Because like, let's say you do a nair or a fair, like a late fair or a nair, and it's at a range where, like, let's say the fox just clearly was not prepared for it, and you can tell that like they aren't gonna try to come in right after this aerial or whatever, because they're like, he's just gonna like aerial grab or aerial nair aerial down tilt or something like that. Then you can set up a situation. So like, let's say you do a nair and you know that this fox sees that nair as unpunishable in this spot. Then you can just empty short hop at them, and then it's like, like I thought he might nair again, but now he's setting up this late fair pressure type thing. You know, like, sorry, what did you say?
Oh, you like know that like it's usually really obvious when they're not gonna come in and try to like do something after.
Yeah, and that's your time to like do something basically. Else. And it's good that it's mad obvious, because you know sometimes it's not always obvious. So it's good that like you know what I'm talking about. Where you're like, oh yeah, like the spot where they're definitely not coming in afterward. That's your time to like nair, dash in, and then do a little dash back bait and see if they like drill in place or do something like a full hop or something bad. Yeah. That's your moment to pressure.
That makes sense.
Okay. Oh, I would have tippered that, but
yeah, I should have.
And so this was almost really good, or like this was almost like the right position for this. The issue is just that like this is just like a misspacing / like misdrift. Like based on this spacing, you needed a nair in place here. And that was it. Sense. Like you just jumped in too far with the nair, so his nair traded.
Yeah.
But like you made the right decision that he was gonna go in there. Okay.
Dude, the fact that I don't kill him right here is so tilting.
Yeah, I think like the passivity where you just press 0 buttons while they're recovering is definitely bad. Like it's definitely bad for you.
Yeah.
Because it just trains you to be like, oh, you're recovering. That's cool.
Yeah, that makes sense. I need to like go out there and try to hit them with stuff.
It's like, even if you're not gonna go out there, like maybe short hop, maybe crouch, you know, like just do something. Make it look like you're gonna do something. Go to ledge early and then double jump back to the stage. You know, like something. Like I just need something there, so like I can tell that like
sitting there and trying to react to everything. Like that's the
exactly. It's the equivalent of like standing in place as your opponent dash dances, and you're like, oh, I'll just grab them like when they dash in.
Yeah, that's true.
It's just like really passive, and it gives them all the control.
So, how should I? So I feel like I need to develop my punish a lot harder in this matchup in general.
What is?
That I need to develop my punish game in this matchup a lot harder as well, and like. I see that right now, it's mainly edge guards that are the problem. But I also think that like I don't think that I have my on-stage punish game like actually realistically like planned out in a way that like is going to be very consistent, right? Because like in my mind right now, it's basically like, oh, off of every throw that I do, I should react to everything and hit them off of it. And it seems like that just like causes me to drop like more of my punishes than if I like split situations into 50-50s or like ended it early with like a tipper, like an up B or something like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that. Okay, so I think that you do want to react to situations. Like I would say you don't want to do too many like mix up type thing. You want to have okay, what's the best way to describe it?
I
So
basically try to treat it like it's like PM and I'm like trying to wobble them with Donkey Kong. Like I don't know how to explain it.
I
It's
don't know
not great.
anything. I don't know anything about
Yeah.
that.
I'm like trying to treat Mars Punish Game like it's a wobble and like they should like not have anything that they can do to get out of whatever I'm
Mhm.
doing, basically. Essentially.
So what you want to be doing is you want to have like DIs such that like basically you want to have like tree branches where like each
If they land on the platform, I try to react to their tech animation there and like
yeah, so here let me no let me
like 150 and get them off the stage. Like it's not great.
so you want something where it's kind of like um you go like this way and you know and they're dead, okay? And
Hmm.
then if you go this way, so like let's say this is like you do like a tipper fair um near the edge. And it's
Yeah.
like if they DI out, you just tipper them or like down near them or something like that. So they're dead. And then so this is like DI out and you kill them. And then like this is DI in. And so then you're like, "Oh, okay, so they pop up." And then you're like, "Okay, so now I'm either going to do like another forward air and then so maybe if you do like this forward air, maybe they're in a position where like if they DI out on this forward air, they just get out.
Yeah.
And so maybe in this position, now you do like a tipper up air. And you're like, okay, now if they DI out on this up air, they're dead here. And if they hold
Yeah.
in again, now they would DI to the top platform. So now, like, this is going to the top platform. And this is how Marth's combo game kind of looks. And you end up in, like, a spot where, like, if your reads are correct, if you ever got a correct read in your combo, then they died out of it. Like
Yeah.
if you were ever like, oh, I did this up air, and they were like, I DI'd out because I thought you were gonna forward air, and you're like, oh, that's cool. Now you DI'd off the stage. You're dead. Um, and then like basically, if they keep choosing the correct mix up, they get to keep getting comboed.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And if they choose wrong, then they die. And so what I want to see from your end is when you're comboing people is like more of this like directed towards like these where'd my mouth go? Towards these where like I want you to be like if you do this DI, I kill you like this.
Yeah.
And then if they don't do that, if you don't do that DI, then like you can just keep comboing them and look for more of those opportunities with like usually it's some form of mix up between like um, strong up air, weak up air, strong fair, and weak fair. Like those are like your primary like setup type
That
comboing
makes sense.
moves, and then you're gonna finish with the up B forward smash or down air type thing. And
Have you
so
ever
like,
have you ever played Pokemon Red?
what's up?
You ever play
Pokemon Red?
Pokemon Red?
Yeah,
Yeah, or like Fire
like
Red Leaf Green.
like the OG
You
one.
know,
I played the OG
yeah,
one.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's like you know, in Lieutenant Surge's like fucking gym, how you like go through the trash cans and they have to guess the right one like multiple times in a row, or else it resets to the beginning. It's like that.
This say that again. Sorry, I had to turn you up for a sec.
In like Lieutenant Surge's gym, like the electric one, how you have to like guess the right trash can like 3 times in a row, or else you have to start over. It's
Yeah,
like
yeah,
that.
that sounds
Yeah.
very familiar.
Maybe I'm tripping. I described this to somebody else at one point.
I played that game when I was like a child.
Yeah, no, you're good. You're good.
And I was just like, yeah, like get them Pokemon, and then that was
Oh yeah.
it. um. Okay, so yeah, basically you need your your combos to feel more like this. So it's not as much like you hit them and then just react to wherever they do. It's like it needs to feel more directed, where like I am hitting them with like an attempt that if they DI wrong, it kills them. Similar to how you're playing neutral, right? Where you're like, hey, if you fall for my trap, I kill you. If you don't, then like we'll kind of keep playing, and I just kind of try to make it work. Yeah, and so that's how it is. Like, are you gonna give me the free kill? Oh, you gave me it? Nice. Did you not give me the free kill? Oh, okay, I hit you. And if you see Zane a lot of times, Zane, like, so this is like a complaint I used to have with Zane for like a long time, was that he super prioritized. Like, he just did not prioritize these at all. Like, he wouldn't prioritize the kills, and he was just like very clearly like, oh, if I just cover this in DI every time, like he would just do so many combos to like 120.
Yeah, that's what I feel like I'm doing right now.
And like I feel like the combo to 120 is your worst case. Like,
yeah, that makes sense.
Like, obviously it's not as bad as them reversing you or getting out, but that is how you should structure your combos, is like you want an early kill, and if they keep doing perfect DI, you have to keep doing longer combos, and then eventually you're going to end up with a high percent edge guard if they guessed right every time.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So that's more like the structure of the combo / edge guard to like think of. And so like what I would say is, like, when you are learning these combos, I think it's the most rewarding to practice the correct DIs first. So I sort of learn it, like I learn it in the direction of like the shorter tree branches leading into the longer ones, where I'll like get somebody in a spot and I'll be like, oh, let me try the tipper fair. Maybe they'll DI out and I'll get it, you know? And then like a bunch of times that happens and you get it. And then sometimes they don't do the right DI. And then you can start looking at that position and being like, okay, so like if they hold in a second time or hold out a second time or whatever, then this would kill them. And you can kind of set up these different tree branches of like, are they going to hold in a second time, or are they going to switch it up this time? And then you start making reads based off of that, and eventually you have like this pretty like robust punish game.
That makes sense. This is like something I don't really understand about tipper fair in itself. Is like, dude, sometimes you hit it and it just like combos forever, and other times you hit it and it feels like they just get out, and it's like, it almost like doesn't feel like their DI is like what's stopping it, if that makes sense. Like, it feels like sometimes you hit it and they DI out and you get a combo, and other times you just like kind of don't.
Most likely it's because you're probably like doing like an early tipper fair. Like if you do the early tipper fair, or like a rising tipper fair, then like their DI it's super dependent on their DI, because like you can't like move immediately, right? Like,
yeah, that makes sense.
And especially if you're not drifting the right way. But if you get kind of like short hop and you do like a fast fall and you do like a late tipper fair, then most DI options you're able to hit, depending on like the stage positioning and stuff like that. So that's like most likely. I can't really think of any other reason why that'd be.
No, that makes sense. That makes sense, because I felt like it was super reliant on their DI to like get anything off of it, and that's why I'm not really going for it very much.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's kind of like using like the late up airs in like the juggle. Like the late fair is used like the same way.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I think that there are some spots like maybe like Fox tech rolls to the outer edge of the battlefield side plat at like 70 or something, and then like maybe I'll do like or like the Yoshi's plat, and then maybe like a full hop rising tipper fair or something can combo into a Ken combo if they DI in, but it just leads to an edge guard if they DI out or something. So I will use like the rising tipper like sometime, rising tipper fair, but like overall you want to do it like as late as possible to get the mobility afterward.
That makes sense. Yeah, and
okay. Yeah, maybe like one more question or something. We're like about an hour, so like
my bad.
No, you're good. Nah, we're only like 3 minutes past. Like we're still chilling. I just like wanted to like kind of move towards closing it up. But if you have like a question, it's fine. It's fine.
I mean, I lost it anyways. It's good. I lost it anyways. It's all good.
Okay. All right. I think we actually went over a lot of really good stuff. I wasn't super sure how this would go. I've been like, I haven't thought about Marth Fox in like a little bit,
Yeah.
but no, it seemed like it went really well. There's like a bunch of like things you can fix that seem like pretty straightforward and like simple to practice and stuff like that.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree.
You have any extra thoughts, questions, or anything like that?
No, it just makes me want to grab my punish.
All right, no, that's good. That's awesome.
Oh yeah.
All right,
I
man.
just needed ideas on how to do it because I was like kind of lost. I was just like sitting there fucking practicing reacting and attacking place for like 800 years, and I'm like, all right, I'm getting 1% better at it. Cool. It's not getting me anything. I don't understand what I need to be doing.
Yeah, definitely. I think that like I don't know. I felt that too with like I think it's difficult to structure the tree branches like when you're playing live because the game happens so
Yeah,
quickly, which is why I
100%.
think like starting from the short ones and just like repeating them and then slowly like building up off of the fail cases is just like way cleaner because like I definitely know that feeling
Yeah,
of like
100%.
of having trouble like actually routing the combos because like when you're in the game it's just like if you take 1 second to like try to be smart then they're already out and you got
Yeah,
reversal
and you get
and
shined and
they
you
think they're
die.
super cool.
Yeah, fucking foxes, dude.
Always.
Always.
All right,
I will.
man.
Thank you, Shep. You want to drop your PayPal down for me?
Yeah, I got you.
Okay, cool. I'll catch you
All
later.
right, sounds good, man. Let me know how this goes.
Okay.
I'm
Hopefully I
sure you
beat his
will.
ass.
Send me any clips or whatever.
Word. Yeah, of course.
But
Alrighty.
all right, man. Have a good one.
Yeah, you too. Peace out.
Peace.